Hello everyone, this is the third tutorial in my channel. So this is belongs to the computer network lessons and 1.6. This is the last video which is belongs to 1.6 explore signals and their properties. Before you learn this tutorial, I think you watched my previous two tutorials because in there I have explained you what are the signals and their properties deeply. So if you didn't watch those two videos, please watch those two videos before you come to this part, because then otherwise it is a little bit difficult for you. But anyway, so in here I'm going to explain you the transmission modes and transmission methods which is used in the world. Let's see. So this is the first slide which is explaining you what are the transmission modes. So as people, if you want to complete the transmission, we have to fulfill three things like I explained previous video. So they are sender and transmission media and receiver. So transmission media can be wired or wireless, so we call those things guided or unguided. Anyway, so by using those three things, so we can transmit data in one place to another. In there we have to use three modes. Those are called data transmission modes. There are three types: or simplex data transmission, and half duplex data transmission, and full duplex data transmission. Let's see one by one. What is simplex data transmission? What happened there when we are using simplex transmission? What are the real world usage of simplex data transmission or half duplex transmission? What time we are using half duplex data transmission? And lastly, full duplex transmission is what and where is used those things. Let's see. So in this slide, so I'll explain you simplex data transmission. Before I explain the things included in this slide, so it is better to say I think we have some experience about listening to the radio or watching television. So we know there we can watch TV programs, or we can listen radio programs through the radio or TV, and in there we know they will send so many data for us, and we watched or we listen, but we cannot communicate with the broadcasting center actually. So the best example for simplex data transmission is TV and radio broadcasting. But cases in there we can understand we have to transmit data one place to another for one direction. So that is a simple explanation. Data is transmitted from sender to receiver towards only a single direction. That is simplex data transmission. The broadcasted or telecasted waves from relevant channels are received by the radio and television. So we know what are the channels, because FM and AM or TV channels we familiar with it. So here I'll show you some diagrams to understand this concept. Then look at this one. This is the sender who is sending some data or a message to the receiver. There are many receivers, but only one sending place and broadcasting signals or data, right? So I think you understood this one properly. So simplex data transmission is used when broadcasting TV or radio signals, right? So let's see what is half duplex transmission. In here, important to remember, we can transmit only one direction. Never we cannot communicate with both directions. But let's see what is half duplex. Let's see what is half duplex data transmission or half duplex transmission. I taught you in previous when we use simplex data transmission. In there we can transmit data for one direction and we cannot transmit data for the other direction. That is the rule and that is the modes in there. But half duplex transmissions, we can transmit data for both directions, I mean sender and receiver to sender, right? But cases at the same time we cannot transmit data for the both direction. That's why we can say data is transmitted for both direction, but it is not simultaneously. So walkie-talkie is the best example, which is used with security, defense and other road traffics and whatever it is. Then walkie-talkies are used there, and when we are talking with the people using walkie-talkie at a time, so one person is telling some things to the other, they are listening, and after end of that speech they will start their speech and the sender who has to listen it. So that is the best example. In this diagram it will represent you, then sender and receiver, and the time one in here you can see the arrow is sender is sending some message or a data to the receiver, and the second time it's time 2 actually. Then time 2 the receiver will send some data to the sender. That's why we can say half duplex transmission. In there we can transmit data for the both direction, but it's not simultaneously. So compare with the simplex data transmission. So this is best because we can transmit for the both direction. We can send something for the both directions. But let's move to the next part. So this is full duplex transmission. So full duplex means like we did in the half duplex mode, we transmitted data for the both direction. In here that is similar for that one. In full duplex data transmission, we can transmit data for the both directions. But another specialty is there. Compare with the half duplex transmission, we can be transmitted data for both direction at the same time. But if you use half duplex data transmission, you cannot do that thing at the same time. So here data is transmitted for both directions simultaneously. The telephone conversation is the best example for it. This diagram will represent you what will happen there or what happened there. The sender and receiver, they are communicating each other at the same time. This is very important for that one. By comparing these three things, you can understand what are the modes of data transmission. There are three: simplex mode, half duplex mode, and full duplex mode. You can find many examples in the internet. So that is very important. So when we are talking about simplex transmission, so when we are type something using keyboard, in their keyboard is transmitted data to the system unit, that is also simplex data transmission. Other than that, when you are trying to get some printout, so in there the system unit or a computer will send some message or data to the printer. That is also data transmission for one direction. That is also the simplex data transmission modes. Then you can find many more information or many more examples for these transmissions. So let's move to the next part. What are the methods of transmissions? By using those type of transmission modes, then we can transmit data. In there we have to learn something about what are the transmission methods. Those are different from the transmission modes. So transmission media is another thing, that is physical or physical path, or another path, or a logical path, that means wireless path. But modes, and what are the methods here? There are two type of methods called serial data transmission. When we are transmitting data, we can use serial data transmission or the parallel data transmission. Let's see what is serial data transmission. Actually, what is the serial data transmission? Serial data transmission means the transmitting one bit after another through the transmission media. One wire is used there. Long distance data transmission is used actually. amount of data transmission is relatively small, because if you use so think about the real world scenario. You are in a queue to buy some tickets or something there, so you have to wait until the first person who is buying a ticket, and after that second one, third one, then you have to wait until your turns come. So same thing when we are transmitting data bits through the wire or a wireless media, so we can transmit one after the other. That is the real world scenario. So that's why we can this is better to transmit data for a long distance, because one wire is used. An amount of data transmission is relatively small, because when we talk about the time, we have only one bit at a time, so that's why we have to spend so much of time. That's why amount of data transmission relatively small. That is the thing. So then let's see what is parallel data transmission. It is different from the serial data transmission. In here we have to use few wires to transmit data at the same time. So multiple data bits transmitted over the multiple channels at the same time. So much faster than serial data transmission, because there we use or we send some data one after the other. In here we can send pieces of data, a number of data at a time. So wires transmission is used, and several wires are there, such as RJ45 or Cat6, or a few wires are used to transmit data. Here you can clear my explanations of what is serial transmission and parallel transmission. Here I have used two different diagrams to explain it. So look at this laser pointer, and the first picture, it is shown you the serial transmission here. Then look at here, and the second picture parallel transmission, and look at here. In here at a time we can transmit one bit at a time. On the same time we can transmit in the second picture 1, 2, 3, 4 bits. That's why we can say amount of data transmission is higher than the serial transmission in parallel transmission. So thank you very much for watching this video. I think this is useful for this is useful for you, and please subscribe my channel, then you can watch my another video, and let's meet on 6.2. Thank you once again.